African American Studies 101 Final Report by Chris Frankie McGurphy. Dred Scott v. Sanford started by wanting to buy his and his wife's freedom for $300 from a widow, ended in a series of trials trying to earn his freedom. In 1856, the Supreme Court declared he was not a citizen, therefore had no right to sue. 7 judges had been appointed by pro-slavery presidents from the South, and of these 5 were from slaveholding families. And this is something that we still see happening today, where we have presidents stacking judges based on their loyalty and not because of their ethics or because of their political identity. It's more or less because they are able to perform alternative motives. And this is something that Frederick Douglass realized, talking about how the Supreme Court was stacked with slaveholding judges, and how if you were black and you lived underneath the United States, that you were not considered free. Luckily, the Civil War overturned a lot of these ideologies, but corruption still was rampant. Angela Davis, bio. Born on January 26, 1944 in Birmingham, Alabama, this area was a very critical time because of a firebombing caused by the KKK. Even despite this, she still earned a very prestigious education, getting a bachelor's and a master's. She was a very educated woman. She was also very active in the political movement by being members of the Communist Party, Black Panther Party, and Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee when she was part of the San Diego University. Some of her passions were about reformation of the prison system. She regularly would have pen pals from the Black Panther members where they would exchange ideologies, feelings, emotions, stuff like that. And they would talk about black civil rights and stuff like that. Another was protesting police brutality, something that we still see to this day, which something that the BLM is trying to raise awareness about, and which this has also ended up being a high-profile trial. Her name was registered to guns using the prison break of the Black Panther members she was communicating with. Luckily, she was found non-guilty, and it was a huge victory for the Black movement because this showed that when the law was applied correctly, it actually was just. Something that came about when I was learning about Angela Davis was the Ronald Reagan FBI, how Ronald Reagan would use his political influence to have the Board of Regents fire Angela Davis from her teaching position and vilify Davis over media. And this is something that, we see presidents do. Most recently, Donald Trump with Twitter, how he got banned for his outrageous claims and violence. These people that have political power should not be, giving statements like this. They should be, making sure that their constituents are happy. They have other things to be worried about. This is just, to outrage people, to make sure that they're voting with emotions and not with, reason. And something I also learned with the FBI wanting to prevent the rise of a black messiah. This is scary because this was actually a directive, was to make sure that the black people could not unionize or unify, and to overthrow the oppression that the systematic racism that they had to that they have to endure. This is something that the FBI was actually constantly trying to overthrow. And talking about that, we have the legal system. The 13th Amendment exploitation led to legal slavery, and the conditions were much worse because now, instead of being seen as, I guess, investments, they're now being considered as just a commodity. They could just pass more laws to enslave or to imprison more black people, and then boom, they have more workers right there. Eventually, this was found unconstitutional, but none of the conspirators really faced many troubles or any law, mostly because they had high political influence and money. Something that we see happening most likely happening all the time in today's society, where if you have enough money or political influence, you can get away with it. And most unfortunately, black people are highly affected by this system to this day. The Sentencing Project estimates 1 in 3 black men will spend time behind bars during their lifetime, compared with 1 in 6 Latino men and 1 in 17 men. Especially for profit, this is even worse. For people still profiting from enslaving people, where people of color are more likely to occupy these facilities. Rate of violence is either the same or higher than those of public prisons. One reason is because we're streamlining black children as black adults, and this is something that is known. And because they're being tried as black adults, they're able to go to these prisons and now they're making money for this race systematic racism again. Luckily, Biden did not renew the contract for the for-profit federal private prisons, but unfortunately, we still have many state private for-profit. And one thing that BML came about was because of this, the awareness of this was being more known, and because of police brutality. More recent political movement that are arresting these, are testing these situations because they want better training for police and more accountability. They want defunding in certain areas and funding in more areas, like maybe mental health training or mental health workers, and more money to poverty-stricken areas would help a lot of this issues. If we were able to get rid of for-profit, we're able to get rid of systematic, racism that targets black people. This would help a lot. And unfortunately, uh, it's a slow process. This concludes my final. So thank you for listening.